Welcome back, everyone. 欢迎大家回来。今天是第225天. It is day 225. We got one character from yesterday, and that was Goal. Goal 是something about fruits and dress. Something like that. Not the greatest there, but oh no, it's not Go. It's Guo. Guo. Right, Guo. Yep. Rap. It's still quite a bit weak. Oh, there, Valentine. I'm gonna drop in as you start your reviews today too. Hang out for a while. Worked all weekend this morning and just woke up from a nap. How was your nap? Do you usually work on weekends, or is this more of a summer thing? Doing pretty well. How are you doing? Hopefully the nap was energizing. Yeah, get on those reviews. All right, let's get into our lesson. 沙漠 Sand desert. Sand desert. 沙漠。我们在沙漠中，这是什么？米和鹿，米和鹿是 I don't actually think I have this. 米和鹿 Oh no, 米鹿 Oh, 米鹿了 米鹿了 That's just to get lost. 米鹿 Yeah, 我们在沙漠中迷路了 Okay. It was refreshing. You felt great, so you still work for the same place, but you change your position. Oh, okay. You fulfill orders and get deliveries ready now. Much better than your old one for now. Fair enough. That sounds great. That's amazing. Improvements. Weekends will be part of your normal hours now since next school semester you can't work mornings at all anymore. Oh yeah, that's fair. That's good. That's an excellent compromise then. You're still able to negotiate time while also going to study. Not study, I mean like go to the university. Nice. Hard work.
沙漠陪伴
陪伴 Oh, I haven't seen pay in a while. 陪伴 Or have I? Oh no, that's the new one. 陪伴陪是call guard. call guard and hills. Let's see. What is that, like a company? Okay. 一起一起去 right? Ban is partner. Okay, yeah, it's a company partner. Yeah, you think it'll be the busiest you've ever been in your life coming up, but you're going to revel in it and try not to let it all flash by if you can, and keep up language studying during it too, of course. You know, gotta see where your limits are, and then hopefully there's like some flexibility. And the nice thing is you can, there are things you're doing that you can scale back, right? It's always nice to kind of take it head on, and then hopefully there's like enough flexibility and whatnot to scale it back to just under your max. Just like every so often I feel it's quite appropriate to see if you can reach a new high, right? A new high, and then scale it back a little, and it's like, yeah, this is now you're settling in, and then go for another new high in the future. Creep up. 陪伴。陪伴孩子，陪伴孩子很重要。陪伴孩子，对对，很重要。
陪伴，贺卡，
贺卡，贺 ，congratulations card, greeting card. Interesting. Cards that give to others to congratulate or otherwise commemorate important events. Greeting cards, yeah, that's fair. In a general sense, greeting cards, and not a literal sense. Oh, actually, you know, I haven't thought of it that way. Greeting in the general sense and not greeting in the literal sense. When you're giving a greeting card, it's a way to it's like an introductory card for different occasions. I haven't thought of it that way, actually. Like, for example, instead of saying this is literally to say hello, which that doesn't make any sense to me now that I think about it really closely. Like a hello card, like a card just made to say hello. And I'm like, now I'm thinking, no, none of those greeting cards are made to just say hello. Wonder why these are called greeting cards. I feel like they should just be called celebratory cards. Okay. Alright, anyways. That's... I haven't ever questioned why these things are called greeting cards. But now it makes sense. It's to greet the occasion. To start off the occasion. That totally makes sense now. Huh. 你喜欢这张贺卡吗? I'm sorry for your loss cards right next to congratulations. Yeah. Oh yeah, you know what? That's something too, especially in the United States. Like but hear me out. I still, you know, that's kind of interesting to think about. Where like, how do you break, you know, into a conversation, right? You give them a card that maybe wish them well, even the worst of circumstances. So I've just realized that I've misunderstood what greeting cards are for quite some time. Like, I understand the purpose of them. Like, you buy a greeting card, you go to the greeting card section, like your Hallmark section, and you buy a card. But I didn't ever process the English of what a greeting card is, and it's more like invitation into a conversation, like at the start of a conversation. Like, you're going to some place where you're invited to like some sort of thing, like an event. And grieving, obviously, death and funerals is a thing, right? It's an event. And that's what the greeting part of the card means. I had no idea. I just now... Wow. I don't buy lots of cards. Typically, we bring gifts. And that's what I mean by, now I understand why it's called a greeting card. Because in the practice that my parents and I practice, we bring things. It's a greeting. It's like it's kind of like a house gift, but more like I forgot what it's called. There's a name for this. In Japanese, there's also a name for this, where when you meet up with someone, right? When you meet up with someone, you bring a gift. And that's what the greeting is. Because you always present it first. And now I totally see how it lines up with greeting card. Why this is considered a greeting card. Interesting. Because it's usually in the gift that you bring along to present for the event, to greet someone with it. It is a weird thing, and I totally get what you mean when you say you're the "I'm sorry for your loss" cards are right next to congratulations. There was a couple times in my life where I went to a Hallmark store to buy cards, and it's so interesting how the hallways, like the displays, are organized. Like, because remember, I don't know if you read a theory on this. It's a really well-known theory in marketing, where like how shelves are organized for the consumer, like if they're on the bottom, on the top, or closer to the front, or the access points, it makes a really big difference. So when I think this is when I was in my 20s or something, I didn't buy a lot of cards, but in my 20s I was wondering, like, why are these types of cards in the front? I guess that kind of makes sense, they occur very often. And then you started looking at, why are the the happy graduate, like the graduation cards next to, I don't know, X cards. I don't remember what the aisle like the rest of the aisle, but when you go like further back, you get to the obscure stuff. The obscure occasions. I called them the section where people who spend a lot of time celebrating because they need the W section. So as you go further and further back, you know how like you go through the aisles, but then the back is just a flat. It'll be facing you, and they're all like even leveled, I suppose. And you get like the ones that people like to celebrate occasions, like happy dog birthday, and like happy 14th birthday, not 13, not 18, but like 14th and like 15th birthday situation, or like happy half month anniversary. Or no, happy half year anniversary. Kind of interesting. I typically make my cards, so if I ever like wrote a card or like write something to communicate something, I would make the thing. Just grab some stationery and create it. I kind of like the stationery stuff. The stationery stuff is very cute. So like you can buy a stationery kit now, so you probably still have to go to a Hallmark center, but I would love to. I mean, if I had a personal recommendation, when people say, I don't know what kind of card to get your friend or significant other, there are like wonderful, even online, there are wonderful like printable kits and ideas for you to make I don't know what the act of doing it is, but it's a hobby, right? It's a stationary hobby where you turn like construction stuff, like stationery, into something like layered. You can do like fun little mache stuff and whatnot. It's kind of a fun activity. One of my closest friends, for Christmas, they hand draw all the Christmas cards and send them out. So in like a couple, maybe like 2 weeks before Christmas, they start drawing a card, like maybe 1 or 2 cards every single day until Christmas, and then they send them out. Really, really fun. I think that's a very sentimental activity. Oops.
贺卡，
贺卡，
违反，
不违反。Handmade cards are always great. Yeah, I think I can like just agree, they're always great. Like that's one of the things that make humans human. It really captures the human spirit. There's just so much. Like, I remember receiving a card from this little kid because like we did something, and it had a couple of scribbles on it, and I absolutely loved it because it's a representation of the person. Like, hear me out. If you think you can only draw a stick figure, draw a stick figure. Obviously, you can do other things. Like, I remember one time having a card where it just had so many bedazzle things on it, and it had like glitter all over it. It's like, yep, that's what happens. It's the human spirit. Obviously, one can also buy a greeting card and then build on top of the greeting card, right? Write a message, you know. Some people are like, well, I don't have anything I can think about. It's like, what are you thinking about right now? Write that down. They'll understand. If you're making a card or you're writing something and giving to your friend, let's just say, like, sometimes, you know, people who believe they have obsessive compulsions and whatnot, or like, I don't know, ADHD, ADD, what have you. You have to also consider the idea that the card has to represent you when you're giving it to someone. So if you say you can't focus enough to make like a card for the moment, what is in the moment? Like, one time I remember I wrote a card where, hey, you know, happy birthday. I'm just gonna write down what's on my mind right now, and you'll understand. That's it. I think it was something about Superman. that or like I wrote about a movie scene that I watched that is somewhat tangentially related to this. So whatever your experience you are having right now, it's relevant to the idea that you are making the card in the moment. So despite having short-term memory or like, I don't know, unfocus, or your memory gives, write it down. It's a piece of you and you're giving it to someone else. You might be thinking, well, what if it's not appropriate? It's like, well, if they're your best friends, they know exactly what you're going through. Like, I remember writing about grief, right? Sorry for your loss. I wrote a card expressing how I don't know what to say. And that's all you need. Sometimes knowing that your closest friend or your best bud, or maybe even a stranger knows that it's incredibly tough, saying it's incredibly tough is heartwarming, right? So that even in the toughest situations, if you're speechless, explain it. Explain why you're speechless. Because honestly, gonna be real, I thought sometimes I can talk about depression. A lot of times, like, I am involved in a lot of people who are at their lows most of the time. That's where I spend most of my time speaking to, when people are at their lows or in a deteriorating state. But when it comes to things that are of permanence, like the loss of a loved one, I just don't, it doesn't ever get easier to, it can get more manageable in a way. I guess that could be interpreted as easy, but it doesn't get easier. So oftentimes one of the cards I would write would be, I would tell them a moment that I was speechless, but how I grow to come to find that being speechless is a very human thing when it comes to the face of a great loss, right? And that was one of the cards. Yeah. For future reference, right? I haven't wrote a card in a very long time, largely because most of the peers that I have interact in a different way now. What cards? I feel like writing some now. I feel like making some cards for some occasional. Hear me out. It can also become a little bit obsessive in its own right. Because when I think of cards, I would think of writing a card whenever I feel like it. So I would, if I know someone's down, I would write them, what is today? Is today Monday? I will write them a Happy Monday card just because. You know, they hate Mondays. I'll write them a Happy Monday card. You know what also happens on Mondays? My only thought right now is what still happens on a Monday? You know, every Monday, yes, you have to go to work. But guess what also happens every Monday? The sun rises. You get to explore the opportunities of seeing what's outside or something. You get to see your coworkers again. Whether that's good or a bad thing, that's an opportunity on a Monday, right? So, Happy Monday cards. Let's see. Wei Fang. Wei Fang. Wei is new, right? Hide. Violate. Violate and oppose. Violate. Or opposite. Go against. 他违反了规定 rules
他违反了规定。
规定，哎，
违反
违反
香肠
香肠fragrant fragrant chang is new, right? How did chang work? Intestines? Oh yeah, fragrant intestines. Sausage, of course that's what it is. 香肠是我最喜欢的早餐食品。食品 nice. Interesting. Is Kevin trying to tell me that he likes sausages for breakfast? I do like those like slightly like the classic maple like sausage link things that are accompanying your like scrambled eggs. I haven't had them in like 6 years or so, but it's been some time. I do like going to a diner and having a breakfast for dinner situation. That's how it went back in the day. When I was a wee old teenager, I spend most of my time working when I'm not in school, right, in high school. So I generally end my shift around like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. So it's basically the morning, and you would stop by a 24-hour diner to have breakfast for dinner, or basically breakfast before bed. Scrambled eggs, some maple, some like sugar. They're like sugar sausage links because they typically have some maple syrup in sausage links or in the sausage, and then some hash brown on the side, or some sort of hash or tater tots or something like that. Some taters on the side. Delicious for a very long day. I remember still being able to squeeze in. So I forgot how it worked. I remember there's something about total hours per week, and you can only work part-time if you're like underage. Like you can still work a certain amount of hours, but it has to remain part-time, not full-time. You cannot do full-time. So, but I only could work 2 days of the week because of school. So it would be like 2 very long days, and if I worked any longer, it would like arrest that full-time part-time problem. I still remember that. So therefore, that's why I always like on a weekend I would work the entire day, like the entirety of the day, if I could. That'd be like 12 or 13 hours. And then I would do 2 days back to back. Oh, how it certainly feels wonderful to be young.
香肠
I still stay up and do things like non-stop for like 13, 14 days, but it doesn't involve standing, manual labor and whatnot. Although my body could certainly benefit from some activity. I think someone asked me recently, I think it was Procall, like 2 or 3 days ago. He asked me if I ever done a manual labor job in my life. I actually, when I was younger, I made it my goal to be as active as possible during the manual labor job. Like, I was incredibly active. It usually, like, if I had a job that involves me standing or sitting in position, I would find ways to get myself moving instead of standing and sitting in position. It was a fun challenge. 沙漠
沙漠
I was so active when I was younger. Whoops. That's fun. Okay.
违反
违反
陪伴
陪伴
香肠
香肠heck, I immediately think of ga. 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 Ga is congratulations in Japanese. Or at least one of the reads for that character. What is... Oh, boy. I don't remember. Oh, okay, hold up. We gotta use our mnemonic. So we don't get the two. They're so far separate. What is going on? Oh. Look, oops.
贺卡
Alright. Next one. 祝贺 wish congratulates. Wish well, congratulate, which is to congratulate. Oh, it could actually be like bless. So congratulate. I'll keep that in mind. Oh, 他们祝贺我 I don't think I have you. Zhi
他们祝贺我升职。
升职升 interesting 升 Oh wait, do I? Shrek in front of the English manor, sun. And what is that? A leader? Oh wait. Rise? Rise unite? No. Unite. Oh no. Rise work. Oh, promotion. Oh, interesting. Sanju. I feel like I might have Sheng. Yeah, rise work, promotion. Huh. Maybe.
祝贺
It does look like Sheng though. Sheng is without the sun. This is also Sheng. But I'm not sure if I got this with the sun, but good to know.
违法
违法 Yeah, another way to say illegal. 违法 To violate the method. 它是违法的。这是违法的，那它是不是的。 不是他，这是这是违法。
违法。冷漠。
冷漠 cold. Oh yeah, cold, desert, indifferent. Makes sense. You act cold towards it, even if you lost in the middle of a desert, about to die, or your feelings are just desert. You know, it's barren. You're barren of feelings. You're cold and barren, indifferent. 大城市的人们比较冷漠。
大城市的人们比较冷漠。
冷漠。陪同。
陪 company, it's still a company. Yeah, 陪同 similar, same, or mutual. That's okay too. You know, I'm kind of curious they didn't use mutual here too. 陪 mutual. 陪香could be a company too. It would be fine. Or it could be maybe something like, yeah. 他陪同我去医院看病。Okay, makes sense.
陪同。
I gotta start. Wait, we gotta start soonish, right? Start soonish to start constructing our own creative writing sessions or purposeful writing. Because reading is all well and good, but it's just at the moment it's disproportionately reading. So reading's like, oh, you read it, it's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Oh yeah, that's a good example. It's like, oh hey, that's an interesting way to say it. And then immediately when I go and say, what should I say in it? And there's not much to say.
责骂。
责骂 It takes a while. 责骂 blame 骂 scold, blame and scold, or responsibility. Yeah, this is also blame. Seki ne? Yeah, seki. 责骂妈妈责骂了她的孩子。Okay, makes sense.
责骂。
All right. And it's gone.
祝贺。冷漠。违法。陪同。
Yeah, man. I guess when we get to day 300, I really maybe it's a life condition or conditional. I mean, like normalization behavior, but I do really enjoy. It kind of brings me closer to what Kevin, you know, the developer of HanziHero, might have. Like I feel like we think fundamentally, fundamentally on the same wavelength. I think this type of setup is far scalable, and it doesn't have like volume problems. The whole mind palace, it really bridges into complex mind palace techniques. Wanikani feels like there is a constant battle with scalability. And then when they were, and it also makes it so that it's very difficult. Like if you were working on Wanikani, right, and you kept writing the stuff, the writing becomes like it's a hit or miss because it doesn't have a underlying infrastructure. It doesn't have a skeleton, or it does, but the framework is not stringent enough. It does not scale up. So when things get really confusing, the nuances don't stick out because the framework is not rigid enough to allow you to sort the nuances. So then it becomes more taxing because it almost feels like you're constantly jostling independent or compartmentalized things. There's no inherent mechanical similarities between them. Makes me want to think what Wanikani would look like if they were closer to the ordered mind palace approach. I mean, I can imagine in my head, but what I mean is it would be interesting to see someone actually do it and then participate in it. It's a little far late in the game for me to rework them. So now I have like kind of like a sort of hybrid approach. But that was the intent all along, to engage in two different methods, two very dramatically different methods, and it's fairly clear which one of the methods I practice more in my life than nowadays. Wanikani feels to me like something I would start doing. It feels like the beginning stages of what I used to do. So when did I start? It was after I left high school. When I got into college is when I started picking up on advancing my like abstraction abilities, like leverage how to abstractly organize information and whatnot. And Wanikani is like the beginning of that. I feel like if I had to contrast, Wanikani is something that looks a bit, for lack of a better word, amateurish. And what I mean by that is, what is the characteristics of an amateur? There's a lot of passion behind it, but there isn't necessarily forethought and foresight to the scalability problem, or like things that experience would make it less amateurish. It would become professional, right? And I think despite starting 11 years ago, it's one of those situations where if they passionately committed to a system, and then if they had to modify it, it would mean they would have to do all of the other stuff over again, right? And that would be not very conducive. So it feels like a different experience. Wanikani definitely feels like a different experience, but it's one of those techniques that no longer is the same anymore. I think to me, Kevin's approach, like HanziHero's approach, is a bit more mature in a later stage. So to me, it kind of feels like, I'm sure people who worked at Wanikani over time can see those things. But the idea is, language learning is a journey, not like goal oriented. It's a journey, so you collect a lot of experiences. So it's kind of interesting how the people initially react, comparing the initial reactions to Wanikani then to HanziHero, for those rare people who actually use both, right? It's actually quite a lot rarer than one might think, because there's a disproportionate use case for Wanikani versus generally. I would say if I had to take a gamble, let's say hypothetically, both of these products started at the same time and they both had 11-year tenures, I would say that those HanziHero would likely have higher retention than Wanikani, but Wanikani would have higher front end than latter end. So there will be more people who reach maturity by the end in HanziHero, but there are less people who will stick out through the end in Wanikani. But either places, that means that HanziHero, on the flip side, would become something of a dependency more often, than Wanikani, who lots of people would likely grow out of. They would grow and continue to seek some other way, probably some more higher abstract, disciplined, mind palace-y abstraction, at least in my opinion. So, in the order of things, it's not to say that one is better than the other, it's that they're appropriate for very particular things. I think Wanikani has a incredible strength in being casual forward. Like, things feel novel, they feel loosey-goosey, they feel less, they feel more fun, enjoyable, right? Because that looseness makes it so that it's very casual forward. In HanziHero, because of the whole Mind Palace thing and the ordering and the structure, it feels like a slog to develop the upfront foundations and framework. But that's kind of how Mind Palaces work. You form a very solid foundation, and it takes quite a lot if you don't have a foundation. So it's one of those like learning curve things, right? This is HanziHero, in my opinion. I think Wanikani is not the same as this. People think it's this in Wanikani, but it's actually more like this. And the reason why, but they usually think of this because they're thinking of Wanikani plus. When you get here, it goes this way, because this is when they start seeking other things. So they start seeking reading and stuff. So they're talking about Japanese learning, the totality of learning. And I agree with this. And Wanikani is a great way to get a jump start. Like, it's a great jump start, and then it enters scaling issues. So I'm like here now. This is where I am addressing the criticisms for myself personally, not like for other people. I'm reached to this situation. So in order to continue to get more, I refocus. So I take Wanikani's lessons, but in the evening, I'm doing more stuff with it. But for me, I don't think HanziHero will stop putting out. In fact, if I dropped Wanikani and double the volume in HanziHero, it'd probably scale just as well. It'd probably scale up to twice its volume. Largely because this latency phase is producing foundations. And even for myself, I had a latency phase because despite having Mind Palace situations, you have to restructure the Mind Palace, right? Because I didn't come up with the semantics, the orders of this, but it was probably shorter than a lot of people. If you're already really used to, imagining a door, right? Door, hallway, then turn left into the dining room situation, like your classical standard house movements, or running path. My running path is, out the door, onto the across the garage pavement, and then onto the sidewalk, right? Move like 50 meters and then make a right. That type of thing. Replacing it with whatever they come up with in HanziHero doesn't take too long. I think that's one of the strengths of adapting, or one of the interesting things to learn from HanziHero. I think Wanikani is a bit of a mixed bag. It's novel at first, but they respond to it very appropriately. When you get to about level 20, I think it's as early as level 15, they're like, oh, now go and pick up a book, or go and read some graded reading, do some graded reading, some immersion things, some easy listening things. That's to acknowledge that is one of the limitations, or a natural limitation. Maybe they didn't theory it, but more like a response from the community, right? Yeah, Wanikani definitely has a scaling, thinking and learning scaling problem. So how do I quickly illustrate this? So initially your volume is small, right? That you have to retain. So this is your retention volume. In the process of retention volume, you have to put in, so you have to input more new things, and therefore the volume goes up, right? And the volume goes up. But the thing is, the amount of input stays the same, right? Usually your lesson volume is however you decided to have your lesson volume. But the thing is, then your lesson volume become less and less prominent when compared to the large volume. So as you go by, your input volume largely stays the same, whatever you decided to pick, because that's SRS. The downside is because of the retention volume, the way Wanikani goes about it, it doesn't help reduce the retention volume. This also has its mnemonic retention. So you still have a bunch of mnemonics that you're juggling. And at some point, the only way you can compensate, or the one way I observe that most people compensate, is they reduce the amount of mnemonics. So they drop mnemonics, hopefully, in time. So what happens is this retention volume then it still continues to grow, but it grows at a slower rate because now you're turning over mnemonics. You're hoping that you abandon those mnemonics, right? And that's well and good until this circle becomes too big where it starts affecting your input. And that can happen. So you get like mixed results. Meanwhile, in order to even offset this in HanziHero, the mnemonics don't dramatically scale up either, because now you're reliant on a framework, a very strong framework. Admittedly, even then there are trade-offs because the framework doesn't ever change. If you get to a really high scale, you can improve your framework. You can solidify it even more, right? And that's upper level framework, which the framework does not include this, which is mnemonic groups, right? This is the next level of compression, in my opinion, a very natural next level of compression, which is mnemonic groups. And that doesn't work. It barely exists in Wanikani. It sorta kinda exists naturally in HanziHero, where you start forming mnemonic groups on your own. Like Tong, right? Tong is also Si. And it might look like, oh wait, how the heck are these things connected? Because they're both mean similar. But they're connected by their mnemonics. So in a higher level condensation, like compression, you can start forming mnemonic groups because the framework itself is very sturdy. It's very stringent. So that means then you can use that stringency and go to a higher level. Wanikani just stops. Like it's so difficult to like group based on chi, or group based on like ne, or any of the reads, or any of the things, because it's all haphazard. Like one time you're thinking about cheese in relation with, I don't know, cheese in relation with the ground, and then another you're relating it to a cure or something. And yeah, I'm still doing these associations, but they're so far apart. So what happens is you need to create another framework that allows you to group reads together, which doesn't happen in Wanikani. That's something that you do on your own for fun. If you're like into linguistics or something, that's kind of what, in my opinion, why people really enjoy linguistics. or etymology, right? The etymology section of linguistics. It helps you to form higher levels of compression, higher levels of association between group origin, like the origin of the group or the meaning of the group, like things like that. And HanziHero, in my opinion, has enough framework to at least go all the way into like the 3000s of characters. And that's excellent in my opinion. That's well sufficient. I think Wanikani kind of falls off at like 1,000, but that's also probably sufficient because the Japanese threshold and the Chinese threshold are two different things, right? You still have kana, the flexibility of kana and whatnot. So kana itself can form another mnemonic layer, but that's not being used. So this is untapped, using kana as another form of a mnemonic layer. Sometimes Wanikani uses like a mnemonic that would incorporate a kana, but they don't add new layers of kana. So like using chi as a representation of a group of characters. That would be another way to organize thoughts in your head. And I often thought about these things when I'm using Wanikani and HanziHero. Obviously, I won't be using these guys forever. In fact, I'm thinking about shortening or halving their volume so I can like pursue other ways of interacting with the language for streaming purposes, of course. And that could be things like grammar. Grammar provides another way to mind palace things, which I don't think people view it that way. I think oftentimes people look at grammar as it's providing structure, but more, in my opinion, and I mean this very directly, what they mean by structure is that they provide familiarity. And familiarity through repetition. That's relying on like intuition stuff. That's fine. That's what grammar does, especially for adults, right? One of the hallmarks of adult thinking is repetition. Adults are far more statistically, like, I'm sure there's research out there. I'm sure there are longitudinal studies. Adults are habit machines. They are incredibly limited but specialized habit machines. So when you get a structure, it creates familiarity that create retention. That's why Mind Palace, in my opinion, Mind Palace approaches are excellent when it triggers the adult's Mind Palace move. Like their order of thinking is exceptional. When you are younger, you have more plasticity and flexibility because habits come along. You're still in a discovery process. You're 90% of the time you're in a discovery process, right? So you are less about similarities, but about differences. And these similarities produce incredible scaling, like efficiency. So grammar is something that's far more beneficial, in my opinion, for an adult than a child. Now, the thing is, you don't have to rely solely on your intuition. You can actively create mind palace structures. So when you approach grammar, you can relate the things. So like, yes, SVO and then SOV is quite a jarring thing. But you can order mind palace things to make this process very fast and very quick. And not in the way about like, in order to be fast at this, you must forget this. That's intuition, in my opinion. That's relying on intuition. So you drill yourself until one pattern is familiar and the other one is not. You can drill this relationship in a organized way to make it fast too, and then you can do both back and forth with sufficient speed. So you don't really have to go about it this way. And that's how I view when people think about learning new techniques. They like to throw away old techniques, or not build on old techniques and redefine the stuff in the new lens. And I think that is less interesting. Like, you are no longer crossing your wires deliberately, right? Like, for example, if you have a wire for a verb, right? And then you have another wire, and you're like forming a network, right? You have another train of thought, which is verb prime. Let's just say this is Japanese verb and this is English verb. Instead of having to worry about them interfering with each other, like, you know, starting like the logic of Japanese verb then lines up with English verb like this, like connecting the two. Most of the time people think that adults, in my opinion, this is personal anecdote, in my opinion, adults are more efficient at compartmentalizing this. So force this and force this. And that's for acquisition. And I'm okay with that. Like, what I mean is, this is for learning. Like learning the information. However, I do this 90%, like not 90, that's a little too much. Maybe like 70% of the time while I'm learning, because this wire crossing is for retention. And for me, I prefer far more to develop skills that allow me to retain the information at a slower learning pace, at the cost of some slowing in the learning pace. Because over time, this wire crossing, in my opinion, leads to critical thinking and innovation. You start looking at most things in the world connected, and how those things connect to each other literally cross wires in your brain. And those wires then serve many different purposes. These wires become heavily more enforced. Certainly there's going to be confusion and interference involved, but it's more for the lines of retention than it is for pacing, right? So yes, you can acquire thousands of kanji in the time that I acquire 300 kanji. But I can use those 300 kanji in many different ways that are outside the system of kanji alone. And also I remember that kanji because I remember most of the things that connect with that kanji. You can remember 1,000 separate kanjis and barely connect them all, while I can remember 300 kanji effortlessly because they're connected to everything I do. So this is like, I think, a talking topic that I feel requires a lot of granularity. It requires some resolution. The difference between aiding retention and forming complex critical thinking and compression while gaining things versus constantly focusing on gaining things. Like, man, I can only imagine how many times I read that comment, the Wanikani comment where someone says, oh yeah, I finally reached level 60, but that doesn't mean I know all of this stuff because I need to still go and practice all this stuff and go back and do it all over again to retain the stuff. Now, my problem with this a lot of times is if someone says they're going back over the stuff, I hope they're doing it different. Like they grew from their experience, right? They've intuited that they need something different. Going back through the stuff will still create those time gaps. So it's a diminished return, right? So if they say starting over in Wanikani to practice the stuff, it's like, yeah, that will still get you relatively in the same place. The idea is you go back because you're different. So when you go back, you're not actually doing the same. Hopefully, people intuitively do not do the same. Now, that is well and good, but that's still relying on intuition. And you can do better than that, in my opinion. Or you can do more than that. Humans are capable of intuition and analytics. They are also capable of abstraction. Abstraction requires a creative output. You require creative output. Intuition does not. It relies on input. So that whole like input only hypotheses, in my opinion, or suggestion, that's for people who hope everything is intuitive in their lives for learning. And that is sufficient. You can be happy. You can be sufficiently happy and acquire skills sufficiently. In terms of like when people say, oh, but it's the maximum potential, it's like, no, it's not. Doing one thing and constantly doing one thing and restricting yourself and restricting your way of critical thinking is ultimately going to be your glass ceiling, in my opinion. Like, I don't think there's a what buts or alternative. Doing less things is a glass ceiling. That's like the human condition. If you believe that you can only, if you stay, just stay on the same, there is a caveat, stay on the same method. If that method itself causes you to promote analytics, abstraction, and higher order thinking, then that's a different story. But then it's no longer input only, it's output and input. Because in order to form abstractions and analytics, you have to output something. So oftentimes the whole like input only wording, in my opinion, is fallacious. It's a misrepresentation, not disinformation or misinformation. It's a misrepresentation of what they're trying to explain. There are definitely input methods and environments that intuitively let people to want to form abstractions and create things. Not all of them, though. One of them is like if you're reading a bunch of books and you think that will naturally make you a good critical thinker, that's not true. That's absolutely not true. A great critical thinker or a great creative solution person or someone who makes things with the stuff that they learn, that's absolutely not true. In fact, they're substantial, if not, I would say even the majority of people in this world spend more time taking in input and outputting what they input, and that's it. That's the last stage that they ever reach. And they can be reading all their lives, watching movies, looking at art, listening to music all their lives, and not enter a point of abstraction or creativity, which is, in my opinion, the last stage of the human condition, when you start creating things with the things you learn. But it doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be perfect. Engaging and outputting creative thought is the thing I was talking about earlier, where this is what I mean by I've learned Chinese, or I learned to read Chinese so much now that reading and being able to read and hear and respond appropriately, like casually respond appropriately, is not sufficient. Or it's sufficient to engage in consuming material or consuming and getting the job done. It's not intellectually sufficient for me. I need to start writing things. I need to write my short stories. I need to write reviews and stuff. I need to use the language in a creative way, not in a natural way. Like it could be coincidentally natural, but having conversation and constantly focusing on natural conversation is useful. It's the end game for most people. I don't think that's where it ends for me. I want to show how English can blend with Chinese and other things, and those are unnatural explorations, right? They're creative pursuits. It's not about being accurate. It's about being creative. So, how do I explain this in English? Well, you could explain it, quote unquote, the correct way, and then have people argue, well, there's no direct translation of this. That's why there's a loss in translation. It's like, okay, that's fine if you want to keep staying in that box. That's not interesting to me. Trying is. So if you keep telling yourself like, well, there's, you end the discussion by saying, well, the whole point of language is you have to internalize it and there's no direct translation. It's like, well, that's no fun. Trying to do it anyways is kind of fun. Draw a picture instead. If you don't want to use words, draw a picture. If you don't want to draw a picture, use music or something, right? I think it's very limiting. That's what I'm thinking about right now. 2026 is coming soon, right? It's almost September. We're getting close to Q4, and I need to determine what I'm going to do in 2026. So many of the 2026 stuff hopefully is starting to consider what I'm going to do creatively with what I learned. It might seem like I'm jumping over some fences where like, oh, but you don't sound native yet, or you're not conversational. And it's like, so what? So what? If you don't have the motivation to use the things you learn, then why do it in the first place? At least in my opinion. And some people will have answers to that, They want to move to China or move to Japan and use the language. That's great. I don't. So I would require the thing that I need, which is the creative process. And yes, I'll be having fun and enjoying and being creative with it. So we'll see what that looks like in another 2 years. Year and a half to 2 years. Whoops. They're looking for the meaning. Okay. Wait, how did the left thing go? Right. Heck.
责骂
Ma. Okay. Ma. Alright.
痛骂
Hong ma. Hurtful scolding. Or ache scolding. Severely berate. 他痛骂了我什么？我一 paper earthworm？ 我一拳？ How does 一拳 work? One cure?
他痛骂了我一顿。
Oh, 盾. Oh no, that's 盾. Oh yeah, 拳 and 盾. Oh, I gotta be careful. 拳 was... It has earthworm in it. What was the right hand character? Oh, it's earthworm on the right, and then it's silk on the left. I see. 盾. So one time, one pause, one instance, or a bit. So like pause, like a moment, to berate. That's interesting. Okay.
痛骂
Berate.
小肠
Xiao Chang makes sense. Small intestine. 食物在小肠中移 No. 吸收 吸收, what is this? Oh, 被吸收
食物在小肠中被吸收。
哎，肠
小肠
小肠
后背
后背 Oh, after generation, right? Instead of 前辈后辈 after, so or lifetime, but it's more like younger generation. Yes. 后辈我会帮助后辈成长成长
我会帮助后辈成长。
Oh, 长 Oh, dang it, 长成长会成长 Become long. Oh, grow older. Grow. Okay.
后背
后辈 guess young generation is what I don't like using the word junior, but
床
that's also the same for to, right? For junior, to. 床 rush with a horse. Interesting. 床 Chucky is in the basement of the chapel where he is rushing to find the holy horse that the priest kept there so that he can escape. And that's interesting. He goes to the corner of the holy basement and rushes through some saloon doors where he finds the horse. He gets on top and rushes away towards the other corner of the basement as some priests corner of the basement as some priests. I think there's a word missing somewhere. As some priests that went to exercise and I see how he's reading that. Exercise and rushed after him. Okay. That's a little bit wordy. Okay. 闯入 Russian or break in. Fair enough. Break in. Break out. 闯出 Okay.
床
哎是 Ooh, another 是 persimmon or you know what? There's a thing about English for persimmon. What is it? Persimmon versus persimmon. Where the emphasis is. Persimmon versus persimmon. It's kind of like a pitch accent situation. Persimmon. I'm only adjusting the pitch, not the volume or the morta. So persimmon versus persimmon. They sound very similar because that's kind of like how that's what happens when you only adjust the pitch and not the. You could say persimmon versus persimmon. To adjust it a little bit more to English, but what do I say? Persimmon. I say persimmon. Second syllable is pitched up, right? Or you can do the Heiban thing, like persimmon versus persimmon, and then persimmon or persimmon. Good old learning another language too. And then obviously you can tone this up. Per sim min or persimmon. for like Chinese. Yeah, persimmon, right? Persimmon. Fun times. Who says you can't have fun pronouncing other things deliberately with other people, like other pronunciation keys, right? One day I am gonna adjust. I'm gonna adjust just for creative purposes. Try to see if I can read English with Japanese phonetics fast enough. Like that would be really fun exercise. Peru, Peru Simon, Simon, Peru Simon. No, just Peru Simon. Peru, Peru Simon versus par Simon parsimon persimmon. All right, sorry. All right, a tomato. Persimmon is in tomato. Oh, interesting. 西红柿 rest red persimmon. Oh, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, western. Oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, it's tomato. South America. Yep, makes sense. The West, yeah, largely the West. Yeah, makes sense. So west red persimmons. They do look like red persimmons from the West. Like, so you just look at persimmons, dye it red, and then think of it coming from the West. Huh. 西红柿. 柿子. Makes sense. Alright, so we have Shrek is in the bathroom of the house, where he is growing a persimmon tree. Okay. In the bathtub. In the bathroom again. Shrek, come on. That has born in the bathtub that has born. He is growing a persimmon tree in the bathtub that has borne fruit. Bear. Oh. That makes sense. Yeah, born fruit. Like to bear some fruit. Shrek wants to eat one of the persimmons, but but it is too high to reach. Okay. So he gets a towel and whips it off the branch of the tree, then catches it inside a lid that is turned upside down. All ogre loves persimmons. Alright, we're changing this up. Let's see. So Shrek is in the bathroom of the house where he is he's growing a tree. He's growing a persimmon tree. That's fine. Like, you know, by the window. It has an easily accessible window. In the bathtub, he has collected all the fruits, all the persimmons that grown, and he's washing them in the bathtub. He's washing a bunch of persimmons in the bathtub, and then he dries it up with a towel and then place it in a container with a lid, right? And then he'll save the, I don't know, persimmons for some jam or something. Far less exotic imagining that. It is a great way to imagine it, but I can also imagine him like washing some persimmons in the bathtub and then wiping it dry. you know. Or the tree doesn't even have to be in the bathroom. You could say Shrek is in the bathroom of the house where he has collected a bunch of persimmons from the persimmon tree that he started growing in the backyard. And he placed all the persimmons in the bathtub to wash them. Then he dries them with a towel and puts them in a container with a lid to have later. All ogres love persimmons, right? We're getting a little bit more eclectic now where any form of tree, I think that's what I'm doing, at least in my head. Any form of tree can be attached to the outside. And they can form the relationship to the component in the inside. So you don't have to place the tree literally inside the component. That's fine. Like, you can think of it this way, where here's the house, for example. There's a window here. This is the bathroom window, and it overlooks. And this is actually something that Kevin does already. Occasionally, Kevin would do something in relation to the outside or in relation to the compartment it's going. So I started doing this. I think it makes it so that this transitions really well. So like, there's the persimmon tree, right? This is the persimmon tree. So you have the tree, key, plus this. So now you have this outside, but it's overlooking the bathroom in which Shrek is standing in. Little ears, right? And he's washing the persimmons in the bathtub, right? Mind palace. Anyways, sure. All right, we're good.
是
是. How does this a horse? Yep. Okay.
床
Okay.
小肠
小肠 Okay. Uh-oh.
后背
后背
是
痛骂
痛骂
Okay. Morals. Duh. Intriguing. Oh no, that's a net gun. I totally forgot this was a net gun. I immediately thought helicopter or something like a helicopter or across a net. Oh, actually, that kind of just reminds me of net gun when I see it. When I explained it to myself. Okay. Alright, the Dracula is inside the electricity plant generator room. Yep. A bunch of electric sandals are hopping around the room. Okay, and Dracula chases them with a net gun in hand. He catches some of them with a net gun and refuses to kill the electric sandals because it would go against his morals. Of course, if they had blood or were human, he would have no problem. Moral hypocrite. Oh, this one's tough. Connecting it to morals. Yikes. I think this one's gonna be up to rote memory, huh? Moral. I'll spin this a little bit different, right? So, Dracula enters is inside the electricity plant generator room, right? Where he has a net gun ready to capture his next victim, right? The employees that are working there. Just so happens that when the victim he catch was wearing sandals. While it might seem to go against many people's morals, Dracula is a bloodthirsty vampire, so he had no problems. Moral objections aside. All right, virtue. Although it could have been anywhere outside the electricity plant. Maybe something needs to be electricity. Maybe they're wearing rubber sandals or something. Like insulated sandals because they work at the electricity plant. Andy Lau. What? Liu Dehua. Liu Dehua. Oh, yeah. I think this is kind of like a national treasure situation. Yeah, a national treasure situation. I heard this before. Liu Dehua. Like why Andy Lau is being referenced here. Like this phrase. Let's see. That's interesting. He's incredibly iconic. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I knew who Andy Lau was. Anyways, virtue makes sense. May the beautiful, interesting, beautiful morals. Dao the morality. Way of morals. Yeah, Dao the morality. Deguo. Yeah, Deguo. This has nothing to do with it, but now that I know it means moral country, that's kind of funny. Moral country for Germany. It's Deguo because of Deutschland. Deguo. Interesting. Moral country.
得
The
吉
a beat, huh? What type of beat? Like to defeat? To beat up? Oh, to hit. Okay. Jimmy Neutron is inside the living room of the house, playing with his toy. A toy car. I see the car. Is that a mountain? What? The car is on. Okay, a toy car is on the carpet, and Jimmy is beating it up. He hits it with his hands, then gets a toy mountain and beats the car with it. Lastly, he has a toy missile that he uses to make the car explode. What is this? Hey, no, Jimmy Neutron, what are you trying to do? Describe what's his name from Toy Story? I think you have a little confused, Kevin. I think you're thinking about Toy Story, not Jimmy Neutron here. It's really accurately describing the Toy Story kid. The one that destroys toys. And I mean, there are toy cars, obviously, but it could be anything, man. How about we let's change this up a little bit. So Jimmy Neutron is inventing a new it's inside the house, inventing a new way to beat his opponents, like beat the evildoers, right? Take down evildoers. This is kind of destructive still, though. So he took a car. He used his hands to modify a car with missiles. This car was also modified to be able to traverse in the living room, huh? That might be a little bit tough, but it's okay. Oh, it could be in the basement. I guess in the living room is fine. Outside the house would be fine too. But it could be a toy car, like a miniature toy car, right? So he modified a toy car with his hands, equipped it with some missiles, so miniature missiles, not non-lethal missiles, and equipped it with enough horsepower to like traverse mountains and whatnot, and move mountains in order to beat his to defeat or beat. Oh, beating up. It's like hitting though. It's fine. It'll be good enough. Boxing, fencing, to root, impeccable, to ram. Hit. Okay. It's okay. It's like a wordplay. It's a little bit of a wordplay. Boxing. 长级. 拳击. 拳击. The left side, what is that? Raise beat? That doesn't quite work out, does it? Maybe not. It looks very similar. We didn't get the left character yet, but in Japanese, there's something very similar. It's raise. So the top part doesn't quite look the same. Raising your hand again. Yeah, raising to beat. What do we have here? I have no idea what. Oh, wait. Saber and party. What is that? Jian. Not that I'm aware of. So, ji jian. To route or to root. Ji kui. Kui. Koopa. Beach house. Bathroom. Couch. Saber party. Yeah, saber party. Yeah. Jian. Saber party. The nice thing is you can pretty much guess at some of these too. This one would be like to root. Let's see. Ji kui. So beat and to root. Huh. Wait. Don't have Quay yet, but it has some pouch things going, some shellfish and some spraying going around. But Koopa. Impeccable. Oh, now these are the good ones. I like these ones. The figure of speech ones. 无懈可击. Nothing. Nothing. I don't have anything on share right now. Nothing, something, but could beat. So maybe like nothing could rival or beat. Impeccable. Or nothing could maybe like tarnish or beat. Impeccable. Let me see. Share would be Xena in the bathroom electricity plant. I can't, it's so congested. What is this thing here? Lax. So nothing lacks can beat impeccable. What is that? That's a soul, a corner, or a horn. A soul, corner, horn with some blades and a cow. Or the right hand is solve. Solve plus soul or spirit. Interesting. So nothing lacks. So if you're lazy, it can beat it. Nothing lacks can beat it. It has to be more. You have to try harder to beat it. Impeccable. That's great. To ram. 撞击. Let's see. 撞击. What do we got? Fingers. This is James Bond. No, this is George Costanza. With like a Chinese yard. Chinese yard. Mile? Chinese mile. Yard. This is yard. Stand and fingers. I don't think I have any. To ram. Makes sense. Have something to beat. Maybe the left thing has something to do with like making contact or something. Or to like push through, or maybe something like that. Yeah. This is Jimmy making a toy car, equipping with a weapon with his, using his hands, modifying it to beat someone. Yeah, good.
鼓
A drum. I mean, drum is not. I guess drum is in it. Drum branch. A branch. Oh, that's kind of cute. The drumstick. A drum and a branch equals drum. That's great. That actually works really well. Goofy is in the basement of the house banging on a drum. He can't find the drumstick, so he just uses a branch that he found in the corner of the basement. Goofy being Goofy often misses the drum and just hits air. Goofy. It's Goofy. And in the basement makes sense. Drumming in the basement. Maybe trying not to make too much noise and disturb the neighbors. To applaud. Drum. 鼓掌. 鼓掌. Drum palm. Drum with your palm. Applaud. Instead of like palm noise or palm hit. Hit palm. Just applaud. Drum with your palms of your hand. And yep, there it is. To play a drum. So dagu. To hit, strike a drum. To play a drum. To encourage. Interesting. Li. I don't have li, but maybe it's like positive. Drum positive. Something like a meaning that's positive. I see a cricket, some flowers, some cliff, and a muscular arm. Interesting.
鼓我
Well informed. Got a cross, a trellis, and a caliper. Okay, Bart Simpson is inside the lobby of the office building. Oh, again. Ball. There was another ball, right? Slight had trellis and caliper. Actually, this right hand. Oh, this is what I mean by mnemonic groups. Mnemonic groups if you use mind palacing. This is ball. This is this. Bart Simpson in an office building. And then just so happens this retains also the tone. Because the other ball is also this. With trellis and a caliper. But now, because of that mnemonic group, I don't remember what the left side is. I'll know it's ball when I see it, but now I have two balls. Wait, let's go find out. Ball. Yeah. Where is it? Slight. Oh no, it's underneath. It's underneath the flowers. So we have flowers. Where we have flowers and a spray for the trellis and the caliper. Yeah. So this is what I mean by mnemonic groups. You can end up consolidating mnemonic groups when you start doing it this way. It's less clear when you're doing it when you're doing the Wanikani way, because Wanikani, the construction of the mnemonic does not involve a lot of the components, the radicals. So you can't start forming these groups. Alternatively, what you can do in Wanikani is you can look at this. Hopefully, sometimes people don't. You can look at this very carefully and you're like, why does this look familiar? This looks like a grouping with something else, right? So that's the other way. But you can literally also double on top by using your mnemonics to parallel this. So why do I feel like I like this system better? Because it helps you write as well. You can write out your subjects. I don't think attaching a complex meaning to this, if you're doing a complex meaning and you're just looking at it as a whole, will help you. Well, it would be a little bit more difficult to get you to write, but you can still do the same thing. It's whatever your preference is. It's kind of fun to constantly imagine Bart Simpson in the lobby of the office building doing several things. So he's building a trellis with a caliper again, right? And cross as part of a prank. Makes sense? Right before one of the security guards come in, he hides behind one of the decorations, right? Same deal as Boal or Slight. He knew he was coming because Bart is well informed about everything that goes on there. Scouted. And having gone there to do pranks so often. Okay. When the guard isn't looking, he throws the trellis at the guard and runs away. The trellis? Okay. I think another way would be like maybe he built okay, so this isn't the greatest because the caliper and the cross doesn't have any distinct features. I think he was building a trellis, right? By using the caliper to measure the distance in which he affixes it to a cross, in which he can trigger the trap, which is the trellis like falling on the person, like the structure. So then he goes and hides at next to the cross. He hides next to the cross, and as he knows that people will walk in that direction, and then he used the cross to trigger, throwing the trellis onto the person. Sounds pretty dangerous, but that's fine. Maybe it's like a fun trellis. A doctor? 博士 instead of 医生. What? 博士. Interesting. Well-informed soldier. Makes sense. It kind of reminds me of nurse, right? Yeah, it does remind me of nurse. What was 助, right? 助士. No, 棒士. 棒士? No. It's like protect soldier, no? Hang on. Nurse. Yeah. Protect. Yes, protect soldier, right? Who shi or nurse. I kind of understand why they have 博士 and 护士 as opposed to 医生 and I don't know, there's another word for nurse. 医生 would be like 医生, what is 医生? 医下, right? 医下, right? 医下. Interesting. 博士 blog. 博客. Yeah, that's just this is a loan word. 博客. There's no way well-informed guess is a blog. So 博客 is supposed to sound like blog. I think my favorite one so far is tanke. I think so far it's the most recent one. Before this, before 博客 was 坦克. Then laser or laser, no, laser, right? Laser for laser, and radar for radar. Shock for shock. What else we got? Those ones are tough to remember. You just gotta remember them. So I made the effort of making them, attaching some humor to them. Oh, humor. Humor is out there. Yo something. Yo mo. Yo mo is supposed to be humor. Yo mo. And then there's like 巧克力 and 西班牙, 意大利, 加拿大, 德国, if you think of it as Deutschland instead. Yeah. Neat. Museum. Oh, it's that boy. Oh, it's Bijutsukan. Or not Bijutsukan, but Boeing, what was it? Dobutsukan. No, not Dobutsukan. That's weird. Oh, what is this? It's an art museum. I forgot. I haven't used this in a while. Oh no, wait. No, that's no, that's Hijutsukan. That's Bijutsukan. What is regular museum? Is this it? Yeah. Oh yeah. MAKU. Yeah. MAKU. I didn't make that connection until now. Hakubutsukan. Well informed, huh? Yeah, I don't think I crossed this in Manikani yet. But the moment I saw it next to Wu Guan, I'm like, oh, okay. Museum makes sense. Interesting. 博物馆 Hakubutsukan. Okay. Anyways. Okay.
我
So many connections.
蛋
Done. A bullet. A list and a bow. Alright. What Dracula? Dracula is in the bathroom of the pawn shop. Okay, on the toilet. He is making a list. Okay, of things he will buy, writing on paper with blood. Sure, I mean, Dracula could use a pen. He wants to buy a bullet and a bow. I don't think Dracula realized that one can't shoot a bullet with a bow, but he'll find out eventually. I think that's fine. I mean, like being separate. So Dracula is in the bathroom of the pawn shop, right? And he just has to go to the bathroom at the moment. But he is making a list of things he wants to buy at the pawn shop, or maybe like to avoid, or to like steal from the pawn shop, because like silver bullets, right? Not that that really has anything to do with, we're not going to talk about the nuances, but silver bullets and like bows because of stakes, right? Like arrows, you know, wooden stakes can be fired from the arrows, right? That's what the list he's writing a list of things to like remove from the pawn shop. Or maybe he owns the pawn shop and doesn't want to sell those things. Or to be careful of, be mindful of in the pawn shop. Silver bullets and I guess wooden bows. I mean, bows are wooden, but you know, Gotta emphasize that. Missile. Missile. Fei Dan. Flying bullets. Missiles. Wow. I would have honestly, I would have stuck to bullets, but maybe wait. Tell me this also means bullets. No, it doesn't. Oh, jidan. Oh yeah, jidan. Jidan is bullets. A bomb. Dan. Oh yeah, dan. Didn't get yet, but Feidan. Flying bullets is a missile. I guess bullets don't fly. They get they get propelled, but they're not actively flying. Sort of speak. Like sort of. And you just add small bullet, a child bullet next to it to get the bullet.
Ban.
Alright, now we gotta think about it. Blowgun, right? The heck with morals. He'd be doing a blowgun, taking people hostage, getting their next victim. Okay.
De.
Okay.
Ban.
Gotta avoid the silver bullets in the bow. Wait. Yes. And then modifying the Torcar with a hand with missiles to beat. Oops.
Qi.
And then playing the trellis.
我
How does this work? Full setup. Trellis pushes over onto the person, well informed. And then we have drumstick, Goofy in the basement.
鼓
Okay. Nice. All right. Let's get to it. Lock in.
诚实
他不是一个诚实的人。
鼓胸 句
Ah! That's evidence.
抄写
我抄写了这些资讯。
肚子
我的肚子痛。
静
Wait, that's supposed to be mirror, right? Yeah, that's mirror.
底线
我们必须坚守底线。
致富
他希望能致富。
默读
这个孩子不能默读。
士兵
士兵都穿制服。
Excuse me.
袜子，
这是一双新袜子。
望，
嗯。
点燃，
他们点燃了大炮。
他们点燃了大炮。哎，
待遇，
这家餐厅对客人的待遇很好。
treat, welcome, receive, host. Oh, whoops. That's not that. Treat? Treatment? Okay, that's fine. Techie! What is techie? Techie is D. Wait. Oh, whoops. I typed the wrong thing in the left side.
把玩，
他把玩着他最喜欢的珠宝。
Fiddle with or play with. Fondle. Fondle. Fine.
设置，
请帮我设置一个提醒。
First setup, yeah.
报，
Son of a bee sting.
容易，
这个问题很容易。
切菜，
熟练的切菜。
What is the left thing supposed to be? Wait. Oh no. Oh no, it's gone. It's gone. Ooh. It's back.
塑料，
这个玩具是用塑料做的。
压，记录，
护士把病人的体温记录下来。Yeah, Lu was something we practiced. I kind of got Lu and Lu kind of mixed up a little bit momentarily. Not too bad. So what happened here? We have... That's supposed to be root and hills? No, that's silver. No, root? Why do I want to type this? Oh no, okay. I gotta think of it a different way. Gotta get at it a different way. Something makes me want to type 扩张。
扩展，
我们需要扩展我们的知识。
Wow. I wasn't so sure about that. Hmm. 辩论
辩论、
我不想辩论这个问题。
debate dispute 论 I got like a spot check all of a sudden, like a mental block, I think 2 days ago.
聊、
here. Oh, what? Huh. You sort of look like committee, but you don't. But you're not, right? Arrow. Oh,
矮、
okay. That one's kind of sucky though. I feel like I'm gonna lose that in another month or two. What? Oh, wrong tone. Obey and guard and protect. Isn't that like abide by? Hmm.
猪肉、
这家餐厅的猪肉很嫩。
This was a typo.
无敌、
他是一位无敌的英雄。
Unrivaled or invincible. What? How did I screw this one up? Did I screw this one? What? Wait. Hold up here. One of them is wrong, and I honestly don't feel like either of them are. Oh. It's probably because of select? No. You选 something 金钱还是幸福 This is committee.
尾、
Oh! Wait. Oh, wait. I think I got the left one
竞
incorrect.
选、
我们支持他竞选总统。
Huh.
策、 遵守、
学生应该遵守校规。
Okay, they just didn't take a bite. Oh no, it's correct. Oh, I got the right one incorrect. We have totem and a net and fingers. I thought it was. Oh wait. No, I really thought it was Yi. Oh. Wait, how does that work? That still comes out as... Oh, it's Yoshi. Okay, it's clearly not that then. I thought it was translate. Oh no, but that doesn't make sense with select. So, what else do we got? Totem. The net is throwing me off. Huh. Well, this is kind of disappointing. Oh, could it be... No, that doesn't make any sense. That deals with dropping. Yep, this is a hiccup. That feels bad, man. Oh, J. Oh, it was J. Oh my goodness. It is choose. Choose. Man. But I forgot what the mnemonic is with the net. What does that have to do with the net? Oh, you like... put whatever's in the net into the furnace? Oh, man. Heckin' Zelda strikes again. It's always Zelda. Heckin' Zelda. Heck you, Zelda. Not like Nintendo property, just this Zelda. What? Oh.
煤气、
我们用煤气来做饭。
Oops. What?
煤矿、
1公里长的煤矿，
Okay. Let me think about it. What is happening?
漏洞、
轮胎有漏洞，
What? Alright, I got a few here. Okay. Did I already try? No, okay. So what is this? Period?
"期限、
期限快到了，
期限, deadline.
选择、
你选择金钱还是幸福？
I can choose. Whole smoke, whole air, whole steam, gas. That's fine. Whole gas, whole power is fine too. It's really talking about like using it to power something, a coal power thing. Coal gas. Not to like gas it with coal. imagine coal smoking. I think there's if you don't think it very carefully, charcoal and coal are two different things. So, so I just want to throw that out there.
帽
The heck is a leaky cave? Oh, that's just a cave. What's another way to describe a leaky cave? I can't think of it right now. Let's. Oh, a leaky hole. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. It's fine. This is coming from yesterday. Right. We're thinking about the left, not the right. Happens.
掌声
我可以从这里听到掌声。
So, other way. We got the palm sound. Yeah, 掌声. Okay. Car and trellis.
斧
Supplement.
燃 镭射
镭射是强大的武器。
laser.
那些
My gut feeling failed so hard there. What? Hold. Ying. Ying. Xiang. 影响力很大啊。I thought this was like matchmaker plus ritual. I have no idea. This is so lost. What is this? Is it... I have no idea what I'm looking at. Wow. Uh.
扶手椅
这张扶手椅很舒服。
滑，
哦，标题。
飞，棒球，
他不喜欢棒球。
野球，野球。
山洞，
山洞里很暗。
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's May and Lee. Oh, it's not. Maybe that can help me out. It's Du. Oh, Meiti. Oh no, I already wrote Meiti. That's not it. Oh no, it might be. What if I think of it as Meiti? Caretaker matchmaking body? What is the middle one? Shadow plus echo. Strength is big. Influence? That could be influence. Influence is big. Meiti. Is that like multimedia? Or social media or something? Huh.
标题，
我不喜欢这部电影的标题。
标题 title. Huh.
看来，
看来他很忙。
麻醉，
手术需要使用麻醉。
Pretty sure it's
媒体，
yeah,
媒体的影
Meiti.
响力很大。
What? Media? Okay. Yeah, I still associate that with social media as well. But that's fine. It's what I think it is. So media does not age very well anymore. That doesn't age. Oh, fang. Whoops. I have no idea what this is though. Spike plate art and dollhouse. Oh wait. Could it be dang. Well, that didn't work.
恢复，
他今天早上恢复了意识。
相仿，
这两种语言的文法相仿。
相反。
能够，
青蛙能够跳得很高。
Qualifications is fine. Skilled, to be able to. Qualified. To be qualified to do something. Is to be able to do it. That's fine.
业 面面俱到，
这次计划的安排面面俱到。
面面俱到。What? How did this work? Oh, everything covered or something? Or covered everything? Okay, fine. Everything covered. Good enough. Okay. What? Oh, media. Yeah.
信贷
我没有足够的信贷来买这个。
Still can't figure you out. I gotta dig deeper. Let's go. Gotta go in deeper. Oh wait. No. What's the thing with like the... Nah, let's just skip this. This is taking too long. Ning. Ned Flanders. Ned Flanders, English manor. Oh no, Neo. Oh my goodness, this is Neo. Ning. Oh. Oh, you know what? Ned Flanders. Oh no, that would be Nung. So Ning, this is the one where like Neo is having peace. Right, he's being peaceful. And then Agent Smith just comes around. So he maybe Neo is peacefully, you know, playing with his dollhouse or something. And then Agent Smith comes by, and then Neo grabs the spike off of a plate and chucks it right through Agent Smith's heart or something like that, and then resume his peaceful playing with his dollhouse. I don't know about that one. Maybe several, like we'll see how long that stands. What? Oh, this one sucks too, right? Is this the goofy one? I think this is a goofy one. No, it's not.
Ning
Or calm? Or peaceful? Oh, okay, peace is fine. It doesn't, like, don't even, that's being pedantic.
后勤
他在后勤部门工作。
Heck. Why am I'm having a memory block on this. That sucks. soil and suit. The goofy thing was spirit, not suit. So someone's suit got dirty, right? Oh.
社会
社会
每个人都应该关心社会。
society or community.
涨价
我们明年会涨价我们的商品。
勤奋
他在学业上非常勤奋。
I went with it. Not it. What is happening? Okay.
可恨
他的可恨举动。
All right, we're good. At the same problem the last 2 days.
勤劳
我的父母都很勤劳。
勤劳 Son of a bee sting. Man. Hold. It's gone. 这是一侧重 no 侧重要的 something 是 The reason I'm having problems right now is I forgot what that component is that I'm looking at right there. And I've forgotten this component before as well. Oh, T. Oh, it's not. It's separate components. T, what is T? To go back? Or no, to open? Oh, because he couldn't open the thing before, because the foreman was standing in the way. He couldn't open the door, so he opened his mouth and did the same. Yeah. Tea is not good. It's been weak for a while now. Oh, true. Open the matter again is to announce. Right, sure. It's recurring. That sucks. So they're not entirely one component, separate component. Mouth is really weak. I think all the body part stuff is pretty bad with the system. Muscular arm, right? Muscular arm, armpit, mouth, eyes, ears. Neck, head. Well, most of them are pretty rough shape. Mouth is probably one of the more common ones, and it always gets hung up at mouth. Like the door and the foreman would be okay if it didn't have to pigeonhole the mouth. Guess it's Kirby.
喝醉，
他每次喝醉都会睡很久。
足，吐，痛恨，
我痛恨浪费时间。
炼金术，
炼金术，
炼金术是古老的科学。
启示，
这是一则重要的启示。
What？
熊，蛇，
Like opposing faction? It's opposing faction. Villain, opposing factions. But what is happening with the reed? Huh. Oh. Oh, I think I know. I think I know what went wrong there. Fine.
借，
Oh, that's not quite right.
漏水，
水管在漏水。
拆除，
政府决定拆除违章建筑。
Tear down. That's fine.
狂人，
《狂人日记》是一本小说。
臭，皮，
What in the... Is that Empress?
楼上，
他们在楼上等你。《 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。 。
Uh...
他们在楼上等你。
What? Oh, I hold up.
齐
What is going on? I swear I typed Fampai already. Oh, it's fine. It's what I think it was. But I don't know what I typed before. I was just going through the ropes at that point. My confidence was shattered.
书呆子
书呆子不喜欢运动。
每次
他每次都说是我的错。
劳动节
很多人喜欢在劳动节旅行。
见 摩擦
鞋子和地板之间有摩擦。
Oh, friction. Gotta be careful. Friction.
圆珠笔
我的圆珠笔是蓝色的。
I got stuck on this yesterday, right? A little bit. It's gone. Let's see. Cricket, Thunderman. Oh, no, dang it. Oh, yeah, wow, it took
木偶
这个木偶是手工制作的。
I don't know if that's gonna stick. We're gonna struggle with that one.
分享
我们应该分享知识。
情
Whoa! I think I added an I where I shouldn't have. It's who, not hui. Hui.
软件
这款软件很容易使用。
What? Wrong tone. Dang it.
上涨
房租每年都在上涨。
What? Okay. Yo qi.
反派
这个反派的计划最后失败了。
I can't spell villain.
夜
Oh, I guess they want night instead of evening. That's a cultural thing for English.
震 搬
Transport is good enough, actually. Transport is relocate, but transport is good.
长矛
战士手持长矛，
篮子
他胳膊上挎着一只篮子，
愿意
他不愿意结婚，
劳动
每天的劳动让他很疲倦。
Hmm.
珍珠
海里有很多珍珠，
Is it a storehouse or a warehouse? Storehouse and warehouse is close enough.
电脑
我没有电脑，
Pasokon.
发呆
他坐在那里发呆。
It sits to be full or stare blank. Oh, I hate stare blankly. It's fine. We're not covering that. It's to look foolish or to stare foolishly or to be like dumbfounded look. It's dumbfounded. Staring blankly is fine, but fadai is like you have no idea. You're just like spaced out, zoned out. You don't have to literally fadai.
Wu
What in the world?
红润
他的脸颊红润，
I missed the one. What?
专辑
这张专辑包含了许多经典歌曲，
Special edit? That's I'm gonna forget that. That's gonna be a problem. 手术手术室
手术室
医生在手术室做手术，
What? Wait, what? I don't know what this is. Demand, request.
看穿，
我看穿了他的诡计。
堆，
or pile. Pile is fine too.
盆，壶，
that one might be lost. Is it request? I see. Demand, requests. They're all involved in that component. Well, what is happening here? I swear I typed Qi the first time. Might have been a typo. Oh no. Just kidding.
有起，
It's fine. It's what I think it is. So what? 泽 and Qi. Qi. Okay. Those are pretty good. Those are good ones to review. We have till November, right? We have till November till we see whatever these are. Can I click on this? No, I can't. We're hitting our first milestone in items. We're gonna cross 5,000 soon. Okay, alright. Alright. This one's like kinda okay. Chuang. Right. Sure. Done. G. Ooh. Or rip 冷漠违法I can congratulate. He is definitely going to be a problem. Just like he and he. He for nucleus. Pay might become a problem too. Pay. Pay bun. Pay bun. Okay. Xiang Chang. Ka. Wait. Yes. Ma. Not this ja. We didn't miss this ja. It's a different ja. Right? I think. Oh, I forgot which one though. Oh, I know. I remember. Obey. Tung he. Tung. Tung ma. Nah. Tung ma. Xia mo. Wei Han. Pei Tong. Xiao. Xiao Chang. Xiao Chang. Alright. So, we have Chucky, who snuck his way into the basement of the chapel, rushing through the saloon doors to look for the holy horse to make his escape. Grabbed on the horse and then plowed in the opposite direction through the saloon doors, right? Okay. Shrek is in the bathroom of his house, putting the persimmons in the that he gathered from his persimmon tree that he planted outside in the bathtub to wash and dry with a towel, right? A towel, and then I'll place it in a container with a lid for consumption later. Okay, then we have Dracula that snuck his way into the electricity plant, dispensing with his morals, and decided to use a blowgun, not blowgun, a net gun, to capture people. Catch his next victim, and most of these victims happen to be wearing like rubber sandals because they work in an electricity plant, right? Insulated sandals. Then we have Dracula in the bathroom of the pawn shop, making a list. Making a list. Oops. Got a stroke. Making a list of things to avoid, like silver bullets and bows. Okay. Next we have Jimmy Neutron, who's in his house, using his hands to modify a toy car with some missiles in order to best beat other things like villains, other evil geniuses. Yep. Let's see. Then we have Goofy, who went to the basement of his house, playing the drums, but he couldn't find his drumstick, so he used a old branch instead. Right. Okay, and then we have Bart Simpson, who is still in the office building, where he spends a lot of time setting up pranks. He's back to using his caliber to set up a trap trellis, where it's affixed to a cross, right? And because he's well informed, he knows where to set this up, set the trap. Okay, now we have Joe. Joe is the fingers. Pretty sure it's fingers, net, and totem. Which is select or choose. And then T. T is door, mouth, foreman. T. To open. Okay. All right. Cool. Oh, guess I'm gonna need this in a bit. So that's a wrap for HanziHero today. If you're gonna watch this later, share as always. Feel free to follow along, pick up HanziHero, try it out for yourself, right? More than welcome to stop on by, share some experiences, how you juggle language learning with all your other hobbies. Again, I kind of digressed a little bit in the middle. It's really about, for me, it's really about the creative process. I think as much as there's plenty of representation about being accurate or native or reflective or something like that, or imitative, like trying to imitate, fake it until you make it kind of situation. That's okay. Not my priority. I think being consistently inquisitive and creative about what you learn ultimately is also another different route. It's a different route to be sufficiently involved on learning things, and then developing consistency in them. I think you can do all of these things, right? Which I do. I'm often focused on the things I'm missing or things I'm not engaging in, not limiting myself, which is what I feel earnestly is true. So when you think of best, then you cease to stop improving. A lot of times, in my opinion, it forms a habit that limits one's growth. Now, hear me out. You can still have so much room to grow in that mindset that you may never realize the peak. So that's perfectly fine. Like, a glass ceiling is a glass ceiling, theoretically. But if you never reach the glass ceiling, then you don't stop improving, right? So that's good. Like, if that is the case. I typically don't really bring a counter argument. So saying a glass ceiling is not to make a counter argument for not always thinking you're doing your best, like doing the best. It's not the same as doing your best. Doing your best means that you're constantly focusing on improving. So each day, each subsequent day, you are doing your best because you are aiming to be better than before. That's very different than telling people you're doing the best way. I think in language learning and in a lot of things, especially video games and the internet, people are focused on the best, not your best. A person's best is the integration and internalization of everything that makes them them. The best is to imitate and to adhere to all the things that are desirable when you're imitating something, and then rejecting all the things that are undesirable or not relevant. So for example, being a native in your target language means you must spend most of your time rejecting what you are, because the goal or example that you're imitating does not include the part of you that is not useful or is seemed not useful. So is English not useful for Japanese or Chinese? For me, it's incredibly useful because I don't pretend to imitate something that I'm not. Right? And that's not a bad or a good thing. I think people can continue to drive, fake it till you make it, drive themselves enough to reach that. And then they will find an arbitrary point in which they are satisfied. They're constantly satisfied. You can reach total satisfaction with that. For pragmatic use, for whatever use case you have. For myself, I honestly do not find the appeal. If I have my life's work is me, right? And if I tell people I'm doing the best that I've ever done, is not what I would say. I would constantly say I'm doing my best. Not anyone else's best, my best. So the more I can recruit about myself, the more it's my best, not anyone else's. So when someone says, oh, this isn't the right way to learn a language, it's like, okay, that's fine. But this is my best way of learning the language, right? And it's not the only way I will be learning. It is my current best. In another month, this won't be my best anymore. In another month, it will look different because that will be my best. I don't ever live in regrets of saying, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. That's because, in my opinion, that regret and resentfulness has a lot to do with what you're leaving behind. It's often, in my opinion, dealing with what you leave behind. When you say, I wasted my time, you have left your time behind you. When you waste time, it means the experience that you just used your time for is no longer valuable. So you abandon it. You leave it behind. That's a part of you you'll never get back. It's a part of you you want to get rid of. So for me, when I approach something, when I learn something, I am constantly figuring out creative ways to put more of me into the process, not less and less of me. I think it's a very great uphill battle. Kudos to all the people that make it work, and kudos to people who find a way to make that work. I typically don't spend excess energy and constant more and more energy trying to rip things away from my memory and my experience. Like, all of this stuff is always connected. English, Japanese, Spanish, Chinese, they're always interacting with each other. And to me, that's worth it. It might not be worth it for the OP purists out there who say like, well, that will give you trouble in the future. It will use up energy. It's like, yeah, it's energy well spent. Not, it's undesirable for someone who don't see the joy that I have at least in my opinion. You don't have to see the joy in doing this. I spend day in day out. It's like breathing. Whenever someone asks me like, "Oh, can you teach me some Japanese?" Like, can I? And then I would do a bunch of things, and then meanwhile you might have like a cynic or someone who's a purist who only agrees on the best method will come by and say, "Oh, you shouldn't teach people like that because eventually they will think like you, and that's not the right way to think about language." I'm like, well, if you want to be a monocultural person, whenever you like switch personalities and you code swap because that's what you need to do in order to do that, that's a great skill to have. My code switching was developed by understanding the relationship between the cultures that I have, not how they're different. So oftentimes when you ask someone like me, I think about the same but different, not us and them, and I act like them when I need to, and I act like us when I need to. Like I don't see that. I feel like that's xenophobic, in my opinion. It sounds xenophobic. It leads to commentary like, oh, I like this language because this language doesn't have this. I like this language because it doesn't sound like garbage like this language. I hate my own native language. That's why I'm learning Japanese. I want to sound cool like in anime because Japanese people sound cooler than English speaking people. That to me is what makes that it's related to that. When you normalize segregation, it kind of flows in a lot of things. You have favoritisms. It's easy to discern the differences, and that's great. I mean, that provides clarity, right? I can try to empathize, or I can try to empathize and sympathize with that. I can sympathize. I rarely can empathize, because while you can look at the differences, you can also see the similarities, and then the similarities bring things together. So can a Japanese person who is learning English interact with an English person who's learning Japanese? Yes, they most definitely can. If you don't think it can, then that crowd is not for you, right? If you want to be an English person who continues to masquerade as a Japanese only person in order to speak with only Japanese in your ideal case, then at least you know what you want and what you want to speak about. If I talk to a Japanese person, I would not only talk about the Japanese culture, I would talk about the American culture and the Chinese culture, because I want to engage in cultural exchange, not cultural assimilation. I think a cultural assimilation is one way, and I would be ever grateful for people who are willing to only have one-way exchanges. However, I don't spend most of my life expecting people to be so generous and so magnanimous and benevolent that they're always catering to me and only having one-way exchanges. I believe bonds in communication is through mutual exchange. So no, I don't look for people who are there to serve me unless I pay them, right? If you pay them, there's an exchange happening. It's a transaction. Yes, if you ever bump into someone who's not transactional in this day and age, they're keepers, right? People who are genuinely generous. But ultimately, realistically, the vast majority of people you'll meet at first are transactional. So if you go to Japan and you're using your Japanese, and you go to China, you're using your Chinese, you're probably most naturally going to use your communication transactionally, as in you're doing a task. You're either buying something, introducing yourself, solving a problem, fulfilling a demand or a request, at least in my opinion. And I like to think that it's a little stronger for me, and I'm probably less likely to be a little bit friendly because, or seen as friendly or awkward or fitting in, because there's going to be some part of me that makes me different. Like, I don't want someone to think that I'm just like any other tourist. Just a little bit. So if I do happen to meet that Japanese person that is benevolent and native speaking, and my goal would be, or the inclination would be, if I talk to this person long enough, they would also be interested in learning English. In fact, it would be kind of a fun experiment to see if someone would engage in a way where they would speak to me in English because they're learning English, and I would respond in Japanese or Chinese. And it would go the reverse in that way. That would be an interesting experiment. I think those are far and few in between, because in this world we live in, especially in the internet, most things happen in an echo chamber. So the more biasly or selectively homogenous the group is, the more likely there are it's more acceptable. So, you know, native Japanese speakers will likely hang out with people who want to be native Japanese speakers. So then you have people who are interested in language learning. They have a mixed bag. You have people who want to learn English and people who want to learn Japanese, but not but they're seen as two different groups. People who are English speakers who learn Japanese are not the same as Japanese speakers who want to learn English. They're often not seen as the same. They have different problems. That's what most people will see. They have different problems, and they are not encouraged to interact with each other. Of course, there is like language exchange and whatnot, but I think I speak for possibly some people who maybe have similar experience than I do. The idea of language exchange is very nice. However, is far rarer than those who think of assimilation and like an out group going into an in group, as opposed to a middle group where both the in groups approach each other on the outside, right? Like exchanging. It's usually one-way exchange, and I don't form bonds with people who are one exchange. I actually think it's the human condition. When the human condition is a one-way exchange, somebody doesn't have the skin. They don't have skin in the game. The other person has skin in the game. And that doesn't lead to fruitful friendships, like fruitful communication. That's kind of like all those kids who think that the best way to learn is to find an instructor and then listen to a bunch of parasocial content like native speaking and stuff, and that's the holy grail, the golden standard. And all I can think about is, why didn't you do it in school? Why didn't you form a bond with your teacher when all they do is talk and say things for you to learn? It didn't work then. How's it different this time? There is one big asterisk. The nice thing about the internet is you can probably find something that's interesting to you, so it's not forced upon you, which can be the thing that makes all the difference. But genuinely speaking, one has to be aware and see the irony in the situation of, oh, now the best method is to still do what formal education does, only this time you care about the topic, right? I think here's an even more interesting skill. Do one better. If you are creative and you understand that you can always do your best in whatever you tackle, then the topic doesn't have to be interesting to begin with. It becomes interesting because you always have stake in the thing that you're learning. So then that's the solution to formal education for a lot of people. math isn't interesting, make it interesting. But instead of practicing the skill of providing the interest, like yourself, you want other people and other systems to provide the interest for you. That will work. And in my opinion, why not be able to do both? So yes, for me, dieting, running was not that great in the beginning. And it only took a couple months to be interesting, right? So to me, I think that is a great skill to have on the back burner. So why is that important, in my opinion, when it comes to like Chinese culture and Japanese culture? When you have to work, how do you do your best at work? That's a question. I think a lot of those youngins who think that they can move to Japan and move to China just because they learned the language, that helps them understand the culture of Chinese and Japanese culture. There are things like doing things you're obligated to do. And because they're obligated, that doesn't mean you half-effort it because you're not interested in it. You find interest in it. You learn how to develop ways to become interested in it. And I think that's what I wanted to emphasize during my digression today. Like having the capacity to be creative and be able to infuse yourself in it is a great way to break the mold and to be able to do your best, which may be very well much better than anyone else who follows comparative systems. Like for example, I had a high school kid come up to me and said, "Oh, I'm doing terrible at math." Well, that's okay. Everyone else is doing terrible at math. And why is everyone doing terrible at math? Is because everyone also has the same horrible teacher. And then everyone else also is not interested in math, so they all have the same. Like, well, I didn't ask what everyone else thinks or do. I'm asking, what are you going to do about it? If you don't like the teacher, what are you going to do about it? Right? And obviously that person's a lot younger. But when you get older, I like to think that that becomes less and less of a problem. Because if you have to do something, you should be, one should be equipped to be able to do it and do it well to the best of your ability. Not completely reliant and stagnated on some social standard. That might be a cultural barrier there, right? Like there might be some cultural dissonance there. But I don't technically live in a country dominated by culture where conformity is a take or leave it. That might be a little bit of a hot take. Genuinely speaking, I think that resonates fairly well with the internet. Now, it's not the same as ignoring what everyone is doing. It's synthesizing what everyone's doing. So, that's different from people who are arrogant and pompous, who ignores the feedback and the goings on of everyone around them. The idea is you absorb what everyone is doing and then you do more than that. You are improving. You're constantly improving and innovating upon what everything is still in existence. So yes, you can still consume native content all the time and then do more with it, because you are not what you're observing. You are not only what you are observing, you are more than that, right? And that is where I feel I lose most people. I think comparison is not only the theft of joy, it's the glass ceiling prison that people make themselves, that people build around themselves. So no, it's kind of both. You need to understand where your glass ceiling is by observing other people. You need to know where your goal is and all that stuff you're aiming for. But then you have to ask yourself, what can you do even more than that? You know, the part of you that is not represented in that. What do you bring to the table? And those individuals who you have parasocially contact with, they are also behind the frame. So there's way more to them than what you see in front of the frame. If they're only talking about language learning, that doesn't mean that's the only thing they know. The thing is, though, what they choose to show is something you have to take into consideration, because what else is factored in their lives? You have no idea of knowing that they are incredibly disciplined, or even more so than is shown through their techniques. They are trying their best to present a version of what works for them, and being aware that it is the best version they can share means that oftentimes that capture is incomplete. So you have to substitute. You know, as a thinker and a creator, I like to think most humans on this planet are thinkers and creators. You gotta substitute for that. And that's what I want to encourage people for, like a closing topic for today's session, right? Why is this relevant? I was watching a bunch of YouTube shorts a little bit early to gather some pocket commentary, and anytime I see like a somewhat of a self-improvement channel, like a channel that was talking about how people solve problems, most of the top comments are what people think is the normal thing based on the normal thing. It's rarely ever, oh, this can happen and so can this. So it's not this and that, it's often this or that. So what is the best means everything that isn't the best for the situation they can see is the worst and not worth considering. That is like the opposite of being cultured. It's like anti-culture. You're trying to find as little things you need to know to be poignant, to be concise. One can be incredibly talented and understand many perspectives, but in the world of the internet, or at least whatever YouTube Shorts is, despite channels that constantly talk about different viewpoints, the vast majority of the commentary is about singular points that supersedes all other points so that they are not valid, right? If you are doing the best from your situation, you do not have to consider or learn how there are other ways to get to it. And for myself, that's what I mean. There are lots of ways to get to something, despite we all having the same potential, right? That's when someone pops in and say, oh, but we all learn the same anyways. It's like, well, we all have the potential to learn the same ways and whatnot, you know. We all have the same potential to acquire a language. Preferentially, we do not choose to do the same, especially when your lifetime is limited, right? So explore that a little bit, at least in my opinion. That's my share for the day. You're more than welcome to come on by and share your hot takes, right? Your generalizations, and I love talking about these things. So I wanted to volunteer something today. As always, if you're only interested in HanziHero, 大家下次见, right? 感谢观看. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna get up, walk around, stretch a bit, and then we're gonna start our last project of the month with Samurai Shodown, right? I'll be back for that in a bit. Thank you, thank you. Sorry, I meant Shogun Showdown, not Samurai Showdown. I'll be back in a bit. Thank you.